Coming up now on UK Student News Network, live at 4. A man spent 15 years behind bars for a murder he didn't commit. See how one lawmaker is working to make a wrongful conviction a thing of the past.
UK Health has confirmed 3 cases of mumps. We'll tell you how to keep healthy and free of this contagious disease.
With wins for Clinton and Trump this weekend, how did Democrats and Republicans move forward toward the general election?
UK junior defensive end Jason Hatcher has been officially dismissed from the football team postseason. That and more later in sports.
UK Student News Network live at 4 starts now.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Bethany Reese.
And I'm Cameron Owens. We begin tonight with questions a lawmaker is asking. How much does your freedom cost?
It's a tough question anyone to answer, and that is why he is determined to change Kentucky state law. Sabira Rayford is in the studio and joins us with this story. Sabira?
I spoke with a man who spent 15 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. What went wrong? A wrongful conviction. What's worse, his case is not unusual. But today, a new piece of legislation may be the key to keeping other innocent people out of prison.
A normal person's brain probably does this. My brain does this. There's never stopping.
14 years, 10 months, and 20 days. It's time Kerry Porter says he'll never get back.
There's no closures, the answers. I can't get to the answer as to why I was made to do 15 years for a murder they knew or reasonably should have known I didn't do.
In 1998, Porter was convicted of murdering a man and sentenced to spend the next 60 years of his life in prison.
And I told him I didn't do it. I heard about it on the street, and this is all I know about it.
But Porter's plea of innocence wasn't enough. The police had an eyewitness that identified Porter in the lineup. He spent nearly 15 years in prison before DNA evidence exonerated him.
When I hear of things like Mr. Porter, that's what encourages me to continue to move forward.
Kentucky Representative Johnny Bell has proposed a new bill that would impose stricter laws on the use of eyewitness identification.
We've all heard about different things that take place in these lineup situations, such as maybe putting a thumb over someone that needs to be picked.
House Bill 387 would focus on having a police officer that is unfamiliar with the case conduct the lineup to prevent possible coercion.
Once you take a substantial portion of a person's life, you can't give that back. You can compensate them in monetary ways, but what would a person take for a year of their life, 10 years of their life? I mean, for me personally, there is no amount of money that I would trade for my time, my freedom.
So you asked me what was it like? While it was hell on this end over here, dealing with the fact that I'm not supposed to be here, my only satisfaction was one day I had that little light that shined through that dark cave was that, man, one day I'm going to make these people eat their words, and that was my drive.
House Bill 387 is currently in the Judiciary Committee. Representative Bell told me he thinks the bill will make it through the House, and it's hoping that it can pass through the Senate.
I know, Sabira, there have been past attempts to do this, and they've failed. What makes this different?
Well, Representative Bell basically told me that the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, they are going to back this, and he believes that with that endorsement, things can only go up from here.
Thank you, Sabira.
All right, well, the mobile ride service Uber has confirmed murder suspect Jason Brian Dalton worked for the company. Uber says the 45-year-old had passed a background check. The company has not addressed reports that Dalton picked up the fares in between the killings this weekend. And today, there is still no motive.
Motive remains unclear at this point in time. That's always a difficult thing to try and figure out when you're dealing with these kinds of random acts of violence.
We learned today that authorities charged accused shooter Jason Brian Dalton with 6 counts of murder, 2 counts of assault with the intent to commit murder, and 8 firearm charges. ISIS has claimed responsibility for several attacks that have killed over 100 people in Syria. That tops our look at international news this hour. These are the deadliest attacks in Syria since the conflict began. This comes as Secretary Kerry says a ceasefire in Syria is closer than ever. Fiji is now recovering after Cyclone Winston tore through the island's nation. At least 20 people are confirmed dead. Officials say schools and offices will be closed for a week.
British Prime Minister David Cameron says it's up to the British people to decide whether the UK stays in the European Union. Cameron says there will be a referendum on June 23rd after striking a deal to retain special status with the EU. And an election 2016 news proving to be tight race this early in the primary season. The Democrats are fresh off their tight race in Nevada. The two Democratic frontrunners are gearing up for their next contest in South Carolina.
That will be this Saturday. Hillary Clinton looks to break down barriers as her race for president continues.
I don't think we are a single issue country, and I am certainly not a single issue candidate. I want to knock down all the barriers that are holding people back.
Republican candidate Ted Cruz says he is the candidate conservatives should turn to. Even after a third-place finish in South Carolina, he said he's the only candidate that can beat Donald Trump for the nomination.
Cruz dismissed the reports that he is underperforming and says conservatives are uniting behind his campaign.
It is now apparent that the only campaign that can beat Donald Trump and that has beaten Donald Trump is our campaign.
With 99% of the vote counted in South Carolina, Trump still leads, with Cruz and Senator Marco Rubio in virtual tie for second. The GOP's candidates will continue to fight for the top spot in Houston this Thursday, while Democrats prepare for their next debate in March.
U.S. Senator Rand Paul, who is up for re-election, is holding a series of town hall meetings across Kentucky.
One of them recently here in Lexington. Taylor Clark has more on how the race is shaping up. Taylor?
The conversation at the town hall meeting was centered on government spending. About 100 people in the room wanted to know why Washington Democrats aren't doing more to decrease government spending.
Republicans were in charge for 8 years. The debt went from $5 trillion to $10 trillion. So we're doubling the debt, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat. Maybe there's a systemic problem that we need to address in government. In fact, I would tell you that the loudest voices for more spending in Washington right now are Republican.
Democrats want more domestic spending and Republicans want more military spending. We reached out to Mayor Jim Gray, who is running against Senator Rand Paul for U.S. Senate. His office did not respond to our request for a comment. Although Republican claims Democrats have been running up a big bill in Washington, a look at spending under Democratic and Republican presidents in the past decade shows it has increased no matter who is in the White House. Reporting live from the studio, I'm Taylor Clark. Bethany, Cameron.
Thanks, Taylor. Well, drinking coffee could cut your chance of developing a type of liver disease.
Find out how that and more in our next Help Minute.
Mumps is becoming an issue on UK's campus with reportedly 3 cases as of today.
Reporter Madison Tender has details on what the UK Health Services is doing to combat the issue. Madison?
UK Health Service began seeing cases of swollen salivary glands last week. Tests confirmed mumps in 3 patients. This virus is contagious, but the majority of the patients recover completely. The virus usually starts with a fever, fatigue, and loss of appetite, followed by swollen salivary glands. Vaccination for the virus is an effective prevention that is highly encouraged. According to a medical journal that reviewed effects on coffee, drinking coffee can cut your chance of developing a type of alcohol-related disease. Just 2 cups a day can cut your chance by 44%. But experts say coffee will never balance out all negative effects of excess alcohol intake. The crisis is drawing attention to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Flint. 100 volunteers joined Comcast last week in an effort to help Flint residents recycle water bottles.
We have 100 volunteers out who are doing a one-stop shop for Flint residents. So they drive through, they get a recycling bag with some recycling information and how they can dispose of all the water bottles that they're getting.
Flint residents can also sign up for curbside recycling. Another event is planned for April 30th. Finally, new data shows that HPV vaccine that prevents cervical cancer is highly effective. The vaccine has already reduced the virus by almost 66% in young girls. Reporting live from the studio, I'm Madison Tender, UK Student News Network. Bethany, Cameron.
Madison, thank you. Casey Kelly is up next with sports.
Casey, tell me, I know we've had a lot of stuff going on this week for UK. What do we have to look forward to in this next segment?
That's right. We've done so much this past weekend. Whenever we come back, we're going to check out why Jason Hatcher got kicked off of the UK football team when we come back.
Well, Saturday Night Live is getting a new home in an unfamiliar territory.
The American series is branching out to a new country that's hoping to bring a new brand of laughter to their viewers.
Saturday Night Live has a new home. The popular comedy sketch show is now in Egypt. Not this Egypt. Hear SNL star Steve Martin singing King Tut. The Cairo show follows the New York model, known as the SNL Bible. There's celebrity guests, sketches, digital shorts, the news with Weekend Update, and live performances.
We're trying to do something original. We're not trying to break taboos, but like, on the way we do a little bit, but not intentionally, and we're trying to make it suitable for a Middle Eastern audience.
We're just a couple of bald idiot comedians who try and get on TV and make people laugh about things we shouldn't make them laugh about.
SNL in Arabic has the blessing of the show's creator and support of the New York cast.
Welcome to the SNL family and good luck.
Bye. Bye. Later. Are we done? Great. Yeah, good luck. They're doomed.
Yara Fahmy is one of the 4 female cast members. Like most of the Egyptian cast, she didn't know Saturday Night Live.
I went online, I looked it up, and then I started binge watching SNL. I loved it so much.
Unlike New York, Egypt has red lines, and the cast knows crossing them could shut them down.
Because we still do push the envelope, and by some people's standards, that's not cool. But we will crush them.
We will. No, that's a little bit ISIS now, don't.
For now, their first job is to introduce to the region a different way to laugh.
Well, this Egyptian version of Saturday Night Live hopes to achieve everything that the American one can. From all of us here at UK Student News, have a happy week and a great Monday. Good night.